This elegant and cozy beanie is really easy to make using extended single crochet in the round, and the yarn is a chunky acrylic yarn with a recommended hook size of 6 mm. This beanie weighed around 120 grams, so a ball of 200 grams of yarn is more than sufficient. And the beanie itself only takes a few hours to make. The first thing to do is create a magic or adjustable ring. And then work 8 extended single crochet stitches into the ring. And here's a link to the video about how to do the extended single crochet stitch. Then put in a marker to mark the first stitch. So for extended single crochet, push the hook through the ring, yarn over, pull the yarn through the ring, then yarn over again, pulling the yarn through the first loop, yarn over again, then pull the yarn through both loops. And simply carry on working around the ring until there are 8 stitches on the ring. And then after the last stitch, it is always worth counting the number of stitches to make sure that they are correct. So this is the 8th stitch, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excellent. Now take out the marker marking the first stitch and work the first stitch of the second round into that stitch. And for this second round, work 2 extended single crochets into each stitch to produce a count of 16 stitches, and of course insert the stitch marker into the first stitch of the second round. And at the end of the second round, it is well worth counting the number of stitches to make sure that there are 16. If the magic or adjustable ring is still open, it can now be closed. Round 3 is 1 extended single crochet into the first stitch and then 2 extended single crochets into the second stitch, and this is repeated all the way round to create a total of 24 stitches. So that was the first stitch, and now 2 extended single crochets into the next stitch, and so on all the way round. And when you reach the end of the round, just count up. there should be 24 extended single crochet stitches. Round 4 is 1 extended single crochet into the first 2 stitches and then 2 extended single crochets into the third stitch. Continue this all the way round to achieve a total of 32 stitches. So this is the first stitch, second stitch is 1 extended single crochet, and the third stitch is 2 extended single crochets into that stitch. As always, make sure the number of stitches is on target, so this should be 32. Round 5 is 1 extended single crochet into the first 3 stitches and then 2 extended single crochets into the fourth stitch to produce a total of 40 stitches. So that was the first stitch, 1 extended single crochet into this stitch, that's the first 2 stitches, 1 extended single crochet into the third stitch, and then for the fourth stitch 2 extended single crochets into the 1 stitch. And at the end of the round, don't forget to count the number of stitches to make sure that there are 40 stitches. Round 6 is nice and easy, and that is simply 1 extended single crochet into each stitch all the way round to produce a total of 40 stitches as in the previous round. Round 7 is 1 extended single crochet into the first 4 stitches and then 1 extended single crochet into the 5th stitch to produce a total of 48 stitches. So that was the first stitch. Make sure it's marked. Now for the 1 extended single crochet into the second stitch, 1 extended single crochet into the third stitch, 1 extended single crochet into the fourth stitch, then 2 extended single crochets into the 5th stitch. That's the first and the second. And this is repeated all the way around until you reach the marker where there will be a total of 48 stitches. And at this stage I'm going to measure the width of the rather embryonic beanie to check the size, and you can see that the diameter is around 7¼ inches. And as this is a beanie for an adult lady, I'm going to stop increasing there. So if you multiply 7.25 by 3.1415, that is pi, that will give you the circumference of the beanie, and that is just over 22 inches, and 22 inches is the circumference of the average adult woman's head. If the beanie is for an adult male, then it is necessary to increase with one more round, and I'll show you how to do that in the description underneath. And now just do one extended single crochet into each stitch all the way around until the beanie measures around 11 inches from the top to the edge. So I want to create a beanie that is between 11.5 and 12 inches long, so that the edge can be folded up to form a brim that is nice and wide. Could of course continue with extended single crochet until the beanie is 12 inches long, but the problem is that the extended single crochet is quite a high stitch, and that would produce a very ugly edge with a deep step. So to get around this, I'm going to do a round of single crochet and then a round of slip stitch to produce a nice neat rim with no discernible step. I'm going to crochet the single crochet stitches and the slip stitches into the back loop. So this is the first single crochet, and I'm going to mark that. Second single crochet into the back loop. Third single crochet into the back loop, and continue crocheting into the back loop all the way around until you reach the stitch marker. And the final round is going to be one round of slip stitch into the back loop of each stitch. So this is the first stitch, so pull the yarn through both loops, then mark the first stitch, and then simply continue going around each stitch with one slip stitch into the back loop. The reason I'm stitching into the back loop and not under both front and back loops, as with the other stitches, is that it is going to create a ridge that adds a nice bit of detail for the edge of the beanie when the brim is folded up. This is the last slip stitch, so pull the yarn to create a longish tail that can be sewn into the brim to secure it. And just out of interest, the number of rounds for the beanie in total was 25. So here is a completed beanie, and it measures 12 inches from the top to the rim, allowing for a nice deep brim. This is the edge of the outside of the beanie, but if we turn it over, you can see that there are ridges that have been produced by crocheting into the back loops of the stitches in the last two rounds. And finally, pull the yarn at the crown of the beanie to completely close the magic ring, and then sew the yarn into the top of the beanie to secure it. The appearance of the sides of the fabric created differ slightly. This is one side and this is the other, and this side I think is rather more attractive. The other thing is that when this is folded, the nice ridged detail at the edge of the brim can be seen. I found this a really enjoyable and satisfying beanie to make, and I hope you do as well.